Hey, Bayek, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at classic Doctor Who. And we're in the Peter Davison era and getting near the end of it as well. So this is Resurrection of the Daleks, 1984. Previously, we'd had Frontiers, and the next one will be Planet of Fire. This is from the 21st season, and it's the fourth story, and comprises of 2 episodes, which are now in the 46-minute each episodes. So they've extended the episodes. It all came about for various reasons with schedules, and that's how it would be remaining. So we'd lost the shorter episodes, but there we are. That's how television is sometimes and evolves. And I suppose it's more like the modern Doctor Who look at doing basic, shorter, one longer story, if you see what I mean. They don't do it as many episodes. But that's how classic Doctor Who had to change, I suppose. And there we are. It's still good. It's still good, though. That'll never be put off. It's classic Doctor Who. And Peter Davison is great. So, this was transmitted of the 8th of February to the 15th of February 1984. And it's written by Eric Saywood, who, of course, was the script editor as well. And again, he does a really good job in terms of the script. Brilliant. Really thought it was a great script, this. And it's directed by Matthew Robinson, who also directs Attack of the Cybermen, 1985 story, which is the 6th Doctor. Just a bit of trivia, is the older brother of Tom Robinson, the sort of singer-songwriter who had a bit of sort of Tom Robinson band, did quite well for a time, and then he's developed from that into a sort of solo career, and broadcaster as well. And of course, it's produced by John Nathan Turner, and the music is by Malcolm Clark. Yeah, Malcolm Clark's the music. I'll just go to the locations. Locations are Shad Thames, which is next to the Tower Bridge in Bermondsey. Butler's Wharf, which again, it's between Shad Thames and, as you can see, the London Tower Bridge, which is a wonderful shot for a director. When they must have seen doing the locations to get the Tower Bridge in. Oh, brilliant. I love to see all that in locations. It's great. So we'll get into the cast. We've got Peter Davison as the Doctor, Janet Fielding as Tegan, Mark Strickson as Turlough. Then we've got Rodney Bewes playing Steen. Rodney Bewes, of course, was a well-known BBC face. He starred in The Likely Lads 1964 to 1968 and Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads 1973 to 74. He was a big television face, and those were extremely popular um, sitcoms. And whatever happened to the Likely Lads when it returned was absolutely massive series, even though it was only from 1973 to 1974, and is still very well thought of. Um, he did have a film career, Rodney Bewes. He was in Spring and Port Wine, 1970, which is a favourite film of mine, starring James Mason. Yes, James Mason, I have to get that in. And of course, he's also got Susan George in as well. What a great film, and he's in that, very much part of that story. He was also in The Three Musketeers, 1973. And of course, he did the Likely Lad film they did in 1976. He was also in Jabberwocky, which is quite a popular film as well, 1977. And he was in The Wild Cat of St. Trinian's, 1980. Then we've got Rula Lenska, who plays Styles. She's quite a distinctive actress, Rula Lenska, definitely. Now, she was in Soft Beds and Battles, 1974. Confessions of a Pop Performer, 1975. Royal Flush, 1975. Fakers, 2004. And Jack Says, 2008. So those are just some of the films that she's been involved in. But then again, there's a lot of different sort of TV appearances and TV shows. Then we've got Maurice Colburn, who plays Lytton. Now, he was in Cry of the Banshees, which has popped up a few times before, 1970, horror film. He was in The Duelists. Duelist, wow, 1977. What a film that is, 1977. Then we got Bloodline, 1979 he was in. He was in Hawk the Slayer, 1979. He was in Venom. Oh, Venom, brilliant. 1981. Brilliant there. These are just some of the selections of films that he was in. Then we've got Leslie Grantham, who plays Kitstone. What can I say? He's just well known. He was at the time for playing Dirty Den, or Den Watts. He was known as Dirty Den in EastEnders. It's often seen as an iconic role in soap opera as Dirty Den. Yeah. Then we've got Terry Malloy, who plays Davros. We've got Davros, of course, again back. And he appeared as Davros in all the Dalek stories up to Remembrance of the Daleks, 1988 now, as Davros. So a new actor as Davros. And I think he's okay in this role. I think it's always, when I think of Davros, it's always been hard to follow that brilliant performance, the debut performance in Genesis of the Daleks. But that was Michael Wisher, wasn't it? I think in the very first Daleks episode. Brilliant. He was brilliant as Davros. Yeah. But it's okay. And of course, he's continued that work, Terry Malloy, as Davros in Big Finish. So he's not gone away at all. Yeah, Big Finish, he's continued. So that is the cast, really. So you're saying to yourself, what is this story about? Well, we've got various aspects in this story. We've got the Doctor and the TARDIS landing in this time corridor area. Now, the time corridor is important because it's going to affect where they go. And what we get is it's the Daleks, of course. The Daleks involved in this, and they're, well, attack on Earth. It's going to be where they hope to destroy Earth and get all that. And you've got a resistance to the Daleks, so we get all that as well inside the spaceship. We get the two spaceships, which is good. The Dalek ship coming to take over the Earth ship. It's all exciting stuff, and it all looks brilliant. It all looks brilliant. So we got one of those brilliant Dalek stories. I'd rate this quite highly as a Dalek story, actually. I think the Daleks look good, and the story is good. It's obviously not the greatest Dalek story, but it's definitely a good one. Yeah, it's a good Dalek story. I think it is anyway. I think it serves it well because we've had some weaker ones, and this certainly is not that. And we've got Davros, which can't be bad. You can't get rid of that. You've got such an enemy as Davros. You've got to use him, haven't you? And that's what they do. And I think it's obviously John Nathan Turner recognises that this is another good trick. Use the Daleks and use Davros, and that's what he did. So this story, I think I think it's a good one. Really, it is a good one. But I think it was criticised at the time for the number of deaths in it. There's a high body count, and of course, what makes this, I think, kind of sad in many ways, is the departure of Tegan, a character who, I'll be honest, I've really enjoyed. I think Janet Fielding has been absolutely fantastic as Tegan. And I think it's a sad loss to Doctor Who. I really do at this time. But of course, she's an actress who decided that she wanted to leave. And there she went, she left. A departure feels rushed in many ways. And it is reflected because she's fed up of the travelling with all this killing. It's become too much for her. And you can see that. And maybe we forget that sometimes the companions who the Doctor is with in these travels do often meet a lot of death. Yeah, they do. We often have stories, and this particular story has a high body count. It's quite an interesting point that companions having to put themselves in these situations where even their own lives might be threatened. We don't perhaps look at that, examine that there's danger in being with Doctor Who. They haven't actually explored it too much in Doctor Who, but we have, of course, we lost Adric, which was a sacrifice story. And it's just interesting to look at that. Traveling with the Doctor is not all, wonderful, and that there is a darker side. And this is a darker story, undoubtedly. And that maybe is why it's more powerful, and why it's not a bad Dalek story. It's a good Dalek story. And I think we should rate high, certainly higher than the Tom Baker one, which we saw. Apart from Genesis of the Daleks, which is an absolute classic. But the second Tom Baker was Destiny of the Daleks. It's much better than that. It is. It's far better. But what is ever going to be better than Genesis of the Daleks? But if you get my point, Dalek stories have been very hit and miss sometimes. And this one, I think, is a good one. It really is. It is a very good one. And I think when you don't use the Daleks as much, it is a good thing. Definitely. Hopefully, you can get a good story. Though I say every companion, I mean, so every Doctor Who story seems to always have at least one Dalek story in it, and that continues, I think, in the present day mess that we've got. Yes, and I won't go into that again. So, as I say, I think I really love this story. I think it's powerful, it's enjoyable. I think it's a real good return to something darker in Doctor Who. And that can be a good thing as well. You know, I do enjoy the lighter side, but it is good to see this darker, powerful side. So, this was released on VHS in 1993 and on DVD in 2002. Now, interestingly enough, on the DVD extras, we have got the final interview with John Nathan Turner. Obviously, you wouldn't have known, though that is the final interview before he died. Not that long after that interview, because I think they were hoping to get a lot more interviews from him, which would have been great to look at the archives, especially now with the Blu-ray releases. To have had Jonathan Nathan Turner would have been really good, but I said on air is the last interview. They obviously would have been planning more interviews, but sadly it's the last one. And of course, this hasn't been released, season 21, but as I have been saying, don't be surprised if this year, at some time, it doesn't get a release. I hope so as well, because it'll say complete Peter Davison's era in Blu-ray, so that's great. So before I go, I always say, look at that, you've seen this, there it is, the brilliant DVD, there's the back, and with those extras, say the documentary and on location thing is good with the director, and as I say, John Nathan Turner's last filmed interview is on here. There's the disc. It's just one of these here. No illustration on here, just a plain silver disc. And as usual, I always say, enjoy this. The nice little leaflet that you get. Always good to see that. That's nicely in there. And yeah, that's it. Highly recommended. Definitely. So, if you're new to this channel, why not subscribe? Because if you do, you'll see, you get notifications of when I put out the videos, and also have a look in the playlist. You'll see all the Doctor Who episodes, stories that I have reviewed as I've been going through, and hopefully you'll find something there that you might enjoy. But I also do a lot of film and TV show reviews, and sometimes a little bit of music. No, it's probably getting a bit less now on the music side, and also a bit collecting sort of stuff, all with a retro feel. And if you have any comments, please put some comments down, and I always love to read your comments, and it's always reply to them. And also, please give it a like as well. If you give it a like, it gets it out onto YouTube, so other people might enjoy it, and that would be great. So please give it a like if you can. And that's it. I've gone on far too long. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.